Hello everybody and welcome back to Pravus Gaming and more Democracy 3 Presidential Suite playing as Russia. Hopefully soon restoring the Soviet Union, or at least as close as it is that we are able to get. So, going on into year 6. And I was looking for a bit more help in the comments section in the last couple of videos, and the best I was able to find is, you should go to Mars. It's not quite what I had in mind, trying to make, communism slash National Socialism work here, but okay, I appreciate the enthusiasm. So instead I was forced to do a bit of play testing on my own. I've been playing a side campaign trying to find some good policies and strategies that would work, and I have found some things that I guess I should probably relate to you right about now. So, you guys know that in the past we have been trying to ramp up our industrial automation. It's why we have an AI administration, our state industrial investments are increasing it, and also we're spending quite a bit of money on robotics research grants. We're expecting this to increase by about 27.2% over the next 16 turns. I did this fairly recently, in fact. Not gonna work the way I was hoping for. Not at all. Here's why. Once industrial automation gets to about this point right here, I don't know exactly what this number would be. Let's say it's, like 60% of the max. Once that happens, it is absolutely inevitable that we are going to have an event called the Luddite Riots. What are the Luddites? They are people who hate technology because they're afeard of it. They're afeard that the robots are going to come and took their gerbs, and so they go around destroying a whole bunch of things. Here's what I have found about the Luddite Riots. The productivity loss from the existence of that event will wipe out everything you gain from industrial automation here, and I don't know of any good way to get rid of the Luddite Riots and keep industrial automation high. I have yet to find it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, only that I couldn't find it anywhere. It is going to come back to bite me in a pretty big way. It will cost my productivity far more than it is going to help in the long run. That kind of sucks. And of course, because it scales with industrial automation, even if you say, screw it, I'm taking the Luddite Riots anyway, plow through to maximum industrial automation, the Luddite Riots just get worse. And they also just increase their cap and the productivity ends up being lower. So no, I just don't really see much point in this. It makes me sad because this makes a whole lot of sense, right? In fact, I would even argue that the only way that socialism could ever possibly work is if we get to a point of industrial automation that is so high that we actually can afford to have the leisure that Karl Marx liked to believe was the future of human society. But that's only going to happen if each person becomes so incredibly productive that we can afford to do something like that. Not going to happen without massive industrial automation. In fact, maybe the entire nation's economy being industrial automated. But that's not going to happen in this game. Oh no! Oh no! So I saw some recommendations for it. I don't know if you were not playing with the Clones and Drones expansion. All I know is that it is not going to work, at least the way that I have tested it out in the past. Now there's one other problem with the Luddite Riots. One big one. And that is, you can't see it right now, but they also contribute to a little event called the Brain Drain. If you don't know what the Brain Drain is, basically if you tax the wealthy and the prosperous and the successful too much, they see very little reason to stay in your country and they just leave. So your best and brightest and wealthiest just leave the country. It's almost like tax evasion, but it's actually a little bit more serious than that. Tax evasion we can handle. That's just a matter of legality and tracking the people down. Brain drain, not so easy. And here's the issue. With the 55% tax that we currently have, income tax, plus the 55% luxury goods tax that we have right now, plus a few other things here and there, in the playtesting I was doing, we are on track to getting the brain drain probably by the end of next year. I cannot do that. If I do, all of the money we have gained from this tax will mean nothing. Our GDP will tank down to zero. We will lose all of our money, go into a debt crisis. The game is practically over. And there's no way to deal with it shy of lowering taxes, which we can't really afford to do when our GDP is already so low and we're in massive debt. So we really, really can't afford to do that. And the Luddite Riots, if they do fire, do contribute to the brain drain. So the two of them will fire together if we're not careful. We're very close to having that. And if they do, I think we could very well head straight into a death spiral. So, going into year 6 then, which we'll do now, and there's a lot of plots to kill me. Oh, hey, look! We'll get to this in a second. If we try to move forward on this, I think one of the first things I need to do is full stop on a few policies, such as the robotics research grants. We need to pull back on those. We need to lower the luxury goods tax. And then there's one more thing that I can do that I know affects the brain drain, but it won't show it to us yet. But we'll come back to that in a second. First off, the auto industry just started up. which is fun. It apparently is driven by the fact that we have very high car usage. That's kind of nice. It reduces unemployment, a whole new sector of the economy. I have no idea if it's going to stick around or not. International trade, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we haven't been doing a lot to reduce our car usage lately, though we really do need to desperately reduce our car usage in order to improve the GDP. I have no idea if we're going to keep the automotive industry, but at least for now, that's a nice benefit. Skill shortage is finally gone. Yes! Okay, we're educating people properly. We need to educate them more. If we can do that, maybe by the end of next election, the country will be in a much better spot and primed for a proper planned economy communist takeover. Allow competitive rail traffic. International transport companies request an opportunity to run passenger trains on your national rail network, competing against our own national rail line. We could allow the private trains. They run more efficiently and increase total ridership. That means fewer cars on the road and new business opportunities. Also, commuters can be more picky with an opportunity to choose between different operators. Or keep a monopoly. Socialists are concerned that private companies raise fares beyond what poor people can afford and grab the profitable lines, while our national rail company remains with lines that run a loss. We need a... Okay, first off, okay. If you're operating right now and your prices are... I don't know, how does that work? The fact that you have competitors, how are you running at a loss right now? I mean, if you're running, I don't think that changes just because you have private competition, but okay, fine, why not? Actually, in fact, if you believe economic principles, then having the private companies competing actually means that they should be lowering fares and trying to compete for that, as long as there are no regulations keeping the prices artificially high, but okay. We need to mind that gap and keep a national rail operator with affordable and reliable service. More trains might also lead to more accidents and more labor conflicts. I'm going to keep the monopoly because it seems appropriate for this playthrough. I don't know what exactly it does. I think this makes trade unionists happy, but I have no idea about anything else. Also, I mean, I really like the idea of having less cars on the road. We need more rail. But oh well, private companies and stuff doesn't quite fit in the USSR, so we're going to get rid of that. But yeah, I mean, it shouldn't surprise anybody. I think that's a really stupid rationale. I think competition generally is a good thing, breeds better innovation, more investment, stuff like that. Good things typically happen. Typically. If you want to keep your you want to keep your public rail system to maintain like a minimum baseline, okay, fine. Do that if you want, but odds are pretty good. If you would be operating at a loss when competing, you're probably operating at a loss now, you just don't know it because it's being hidden behind a bunch of tax rigmarole. But whatever. Anyways, so what are the things we can do about the brain drain? There we go. Before that happens, border controls. I think a lot of people underestimate this. You can't see it right now, but there is a hidden modifier right now for the brain drain. At armed guards, I imagine it's probably like a minus 5% or something like that. If we increase this, that brain drain effect actually goes down a lot more. I think it's like an exponential effect. The more you have controlled the borders, less people can get out. So, by doing this now, before it even fires, we can try to prevent it from crossing that start trigger. So we're going to do that. I know it's going to upset foreign relations, it's going to reduce immigration, it's going to upset a lot of people in tourism and stuff like that, increase corruption, police brutality. Across the board, stuff that I didn't want. I wanted it to be relatively low. But, if the brain drain fires, we're screwed. The only alternative would be to reduce our income tax, which means losing like 20 billion rubles, which I can't afford to do. So as far as I'm concerned, that is the most cost-effective thing we can do to try and prevent it. And you know what? While we are at it, in order to make sure that it doesn't become a problem, let's also reduce our luxury tax to, let's say, about 40%. 7.5-ish billion rubles per quarter instead. Now, that's going to upset the socialists a little bit more. It reduces equality a little bit and stuff like that. Oh, well, it happens. But I need to make sure the brain drain doesn't fire. I don't think I can possibly underestimate or understate how bad that would be. We're talking like a minus 20% GDP kind of effect, just when we're starting to get it to kind of pick back up. Just barely. So no, I don't think that makes any sense. And you know what, while we're at it, we actually kind of need to reduce the robotics research grants quite a bit. I'm talking down to like, keep it where it is right now, don't do any more. I know it sounds ridiculous, but seriously, I would love to prevent the Luddites from firing if we can. It may be inevitable. Don't forget that as we are increasing our technology right here, industrial automation is going to be going up automatically. Also, don't forget that we have the AI administration contributing to it, and don't forget that we have state industrial investment. So between these two, it's probably going to go up here anyway. To be honest, shy of greatly increasing the automation tax, I don't know if we can prevent it from happening anyway. We've already made some pretty substantial investments. I just know that when the Luddite riots fire, it will erase every benefit we have and end up costing us more money than if we just left it alone as is right now. Okay. Right now we have a surplus of about 12.5 billion rubles. We could try to reduce obesity and stuff a bit. That would be nice, at least improve our health and reduce dementia. What if we pass a junk food tax? Not a super high one, but it does reduce obesity and tooth decay. You know, putting a tax on soda and stuff like that. I mean, we could raise, like, let's say... I mean, we can make it relatively high. What if we did, like, a 60% tax? It would raise very little money. The money's not the big deal. Getting rid of obesity and tooth decay, however, by taxing soda, now that could be pretty good. Also, health goes up by almost 7%. 7%! I never get to do junk food taxes. I'm always doing health food subsidies. But this could work out pretty well for us. It just upsets people. Also, poor earnings goes down and farmers aren't making quite as much money. Whatever. I mean, this is basically going down to kind of the good old-fashioned economics 101, the idea that if you charge more for a product or a good or a service of some sort, then it will be consumed less because the price has gone up. And if you lower its prices, it will be consumed more. So ideally, what a government wants to do then is tax junk food so it's consumed less because it's artificially a higher price, and subsidize health food so that it's cheaper so that it's consumed more. That's the idea behind it. Now, granted, that is a gross distortion of the free market, but that's sort of the idea. It's creating a literal financial incentive to change your buying habits. At least that is the idea behind it. Liberal plots, that's not good. Hey, computer industry developed. Nice! We actually see the GDP starting to pick up a little bit too. And unemployment is going down. Surveillance scandal. Oh no, not the CCTV crap again. That's 25% more liberals. That's so many! Alright guys. I liked CCTV. I really did. It was so good at reducing crime. Wait, liberals hate it again. What? Wait. Didn't liberals used to like this? I'm sorry, I'm almost positive that there was a point not too long ago we were talking about CCTV saying, huh, I don't know why, but liberals love it now. It used to be considered a violation of privacy. Now they hate it. Am I misremembering? I might be misremembering. I mean, that could happen, right? But I thought that they liked it. I wonder if it got flipped on me. If so, wow. Between the events of CCTV cameras and upsetting the liberals that much, I mean, violent crime reduced is great, because our violent crime is actually shockingly high right now. In no small part because everyone's frickin' drunk. But besides that though, those events are creating so many gosh dang liberals. Look at that! And they're all trying to kill me! Oh god. Well, the big question now is, can we survive? Alright. Okay. Going back to my plans for the video, though. One thing we want to do now is try to increase our education. We've been doing pretty well on health lately. Health should be going up. Now we need to be improving education, because it's been relatively stagnant lately. One thing we could definitely do to try and fix that is, one, fix the teacher shortage. Teacher shortage is reducing our education by about 20%, and it's upsetting a lot of parents. So the best ways we can do that, then, is to fund more state schools. And that's something we need to do with our surplus. We have plenty of money right now. We can increase our spending by about 9 or 10 billion rubles. That reduces the teacher shortage by a further 25%. Also, private schools go away. Socialism membership goes up and stuff like that. Yeah, it reduces unemployment, which isn't great, but oh well. And education goes up by another 12%. So across the board, I mean, it's expensive. I still would say that the voucher system is a more cost-effective method of doing things, but this works pretty well for us in this particular playthrough, and it should do a lot to reduce the teacher shortage. But I don't know if by itself it's going to be enough. In fact, I would hazard a guess no. I think it's going to stop like right about here. What we could also consider doing then is trying to reduce parent membership. I know. What controversial thing are we going to do for that? Well, the thing that I have in mind specifically would be birth control. Yep, we can hand out government birth control. Now, I think this is actually kind of funny, because I don't remember all the details. I seem to recall that reading an article a few years ago that Russia was actively trying to encourage people to have more kids because their population wasn't growing quite enough. I think they were actively trying to encourage young adults not to use contraceptives and have more sex so they can have kids. Pretty sure. I could be wrong, and who knows, that might even have been a propaganda piece. If I'm right though, this is a hilarious reversal. Even so, we're going to do a birth control policy. It could be pretty expensive, but it doesn't have to be too crazy. We could, well, actually, here's the thing. It actually starts off kind of in the middle. You can go the opposite direction. First off, you can do contraceptives are banned, prescription only. Here's the laissez-faire approach. So basically it does, well, pretty much nothing but reduce sexism a tiny bit. Condom handouts, education campaigns, and then you can actually flip things around to be really restrictive on how many children you're able to have. So you go from no contraceptives, please have as many children as possible, to let's clamp down and actually have a 2 or a 1-child policy. Or you have to have a license to have kids. That's pretty crazy, right? Now here's one thing I think is really interesting about this. Look at the weird pattern. The scaling modifiers here. They actually flip twice. Look at parents, for example. Contraceptives banned, not happy. Let me go here to handouts and education. Oh, we like that idea. Ban your children. What? This is so unique. I've never seen this on a single policy in this game where they're not actual inverted relationships. They actually flip depending on how extreme you go. That's pretty cool if you ask me. For us, though, we actually do want to reduce parent membership a fair bit. What if we went to, let's say just a simple education campaign. It doesn't upset the young very much. It actually reduces sexism by about 12%, which I think is interesting. But parent membership will go down about 14%. A lot less kids to be had. The religious don't like it, but there's nothing new with that. That's fine. We're reducing our parent membership. And the idea behind this is if we have less kids taking up our seats in our public schools, then we won't be exacerbated on our teacher shortage. We're trying to reduce that aggressively. Reduce parent membership, pay the teachers better, incentivize more people to come and be teachers, and create larger schools with larger classrooms. That's the idea. We're going to see how well that it works. And with that, I guess we go ahead and move on into the next turn. Hey! Okay, first off, failed assassination attempt. That's not good. But egalitarian society! We did it, everybody! We've created an equal society. I mean, we basically had to do it by creating a society where everyone kind of lives in sucky conditions together, but there we go! Egalitarian! So our equality has gone way up. That's supposed to be happening in a communist, but maybe not so communist, maybe a different kind of style of socialist kind of economy. Or a society, political system. That's pretty cool, though. Socialists are about 90% of our population, by the way. That's not half bad. Not half bad at all. Liberal membership sort of hovering in a really bad spot for a while, though. But, of course, as the independent head of state continues going away, the local government... Actually, we may want to consider getting rid of local government at some point, too. I'm not sure when we do that with decentralization. That would be good, but I'm not sure it's a high priority. All right, what can we do to try and improve the GDP? Because it's actually going down. I'm not sure why. I'm guessing it has something to do with... yeah, look at the global economy. Yep, okay, the global economy has been slipping down, down, down. We actually were above it for a little while, relative GDP. And now we're slipping down again. Okay, that's one of the reasons we're having some trouble. Okay, what can we do then? Productivity. It's all about that productivity. State industrial investments are going up. Unemployment is really low, and that's not helping. People aren't feeling the need to produce as much in order to be competitive and keep their jobs. But that, I don't know, we'll see what we can do about unemployment, but to be honest, it's really difficult to deal with that. Alcohol consumption is actually really high, and that is greatly increasing the violent crime, the alcohol abuse, dementia, road accidents, and reducing our productivity. Also, people are so drunk they can't go protest for their rights. Really? I didn't know that was a thing. That's funny. Yeah, we need to reduce our alcohol consumption pretty drastically if you want to improve our productivity. Because productivity is kind of king right now. So we may have to change the alcohol law to be really aggressive. I hate the idea, but I think we may have to go to low-strength beer. Everyone's gotten so hopped up on vodka that we're destroying our nation. For the good of the collective... Y'all need to give up the vodka and just start drinking beer for a little while, okay? At least for a few years. And to make sure that that happens, I'm also going to raise up the taxes. No one's going to like this, but this is what it's going to be. We're going to go to a 5 billion per quarter ruble tax here. Poverty goes up, and I'm pretty sure it's already well below the minimum, so I don't think that's going to matter too much. Equality going down kind of sucks, but alcohol consumption goes down by another 12%. Think we have to do that. There will come a time when we can reduce this again if we had to, but in the meantime... I think that's what we have to do. We're also going to pass an alcohol awareness campaign, which costs a very tiny amount of money and reduces it by another 11%. If we can get rid of the alcohol abuse, that'd be fantastic. I mean, the primary thing that's driving it, first off, it's costing me money. 4 billion rubles is a lot of rubles. It's also reducing my health. But that's the primary thing driving it, is just straight up alcohol consumption. I need to reduce that. I need to reduce it a lot. Okay, and while we're at it, you know what? Since we were looking at violent crime a minute ago, let's go ahead and pass the Witness Protection Program. This will reduce violent crime by about 9%. I think that's a good use of money, because violent crime, just way too high right now. Way too high. I'm not even sure why it is this high. It's the civil rights protests, of course. Also the alcohol. Everyone's drunk, they're beating each other up. But seriously, you know, if you guys want to protest civil rights, then maybe you should stop murdering each other. This is what happens. This is what happens when you give people this weird idea of natural human rights. Pah! Frickin' Americans. They ruined the world. Alright, what else will improve the GDP? Traffic congestion's really bad. Working on productivity now. Immigration's not too bad. A lot of economic sectors that are helping. Automotive is actually well on its way out. Because wages are too high. After we got rid of the labor shortage, wages started spiking back up. That's the problem. Okay, I don't expect the automotive industry to last for much longer then. I think that's kind of inevitably going to go away. What about the traffic congestion, though? Wow, car usage. Also, people are blocking the streets. Great. We could try to reduce this a bit. The petrol tax is having some effect. As the GDP goes up, though, more and more people are going to be driving. And it's actually really difficult to avoid just because the Russian geography means that more people are driving to begin with. We've also passed a few policies, there we go, that aren't really helping me on that front. Yeah, we need to try to reduce car usage a bit. We also need to reduce road accidents, because that's not helping anything either. Actually, maybe this is one of the things we want to tackle first. This could improve our health. It does increase car usage by solving it, though. I don't know. I mean, we could do street lighting, right? I mean, that seems like kind of common sense, something we ought to do. Alright, let's do all settlements, like 1.2 billion rubles straight up. That reduces road accidents by about 15%. It will save people's lives. We should be lighting the streets. Absolutely. I mean, who knows? Maybe... I mean, everyone's using their headlights and stuff, but maybe this will reduce the likelihood that a bear goes charging across the highway. You ever seen those videos in, like, Russia? Because everyone has dash cams in Russia. There's a lot of reasons for that. Mostly to do with insurance scams and people jumping in front of cars trying to get insurance money. But anyway, I've seen like some videos in Russia and around the area where, like, a freaking grizzly bear just goes running across the road and gets hit by a freaking truck, and it just goes rolling off, and then it just keeps going. Freaking bears, man. Bears are scary. Russian bears are even scarier, especially when they ride on unicycles. Anyway, let's also reduce the car usage directly by doing a carpooling campaign. It doesn't do a lot, about 3%, but it should help reduce things ever so slightly. Okay, let's move on into the next turn. Doop-a-doop-doop. Capitalist plot. Surprising. The labor shortage is back. Of course it is. Unemployment was too low. We also have a water shortage. That's not good. We need to solve that problem, because otherwise we're going to have a food price skyrocketing issue, and then we're going to have a general strike, and then our economy is going to tank. Fun times. People smuggling. A large number of people have been caught entering our country hidden inside cargo containers. An organized attempt at people smuggling. The criminals have been arrested. There's a debate as to whether or not to let them stay. Nope, we're going to deport them. That sounds appropriate. We're going to deport them. Hey, a new party donor. Don't care? Get out of here, you bourgeois scum. I mean, I don't mean it. Give me your money, please. I would love to. Could you pay a bit into the coffers of the country? We could use that money, but all right. All right. So we have a water shortage. Not good. A big part of that is just the fact that as time goes on, it is inevitable. You can literally do every single environmental policy in the game, and eventually, if you play long enough, the water shortage and the cyclones will happen. It's just inevitable. It's one of the reasons I don't like the Clones and Drones expansion as much as the others. Another big part of the problem, though, is the farmers' membership has been going up, and our environment is actually been holding relatively consistently here. I guess it's just because of farmer membership? No, that's gone up a little bit. It's mostly, I guess, just because the average temperature of the planet has been consistently increasing, and that's just entirely due to the fact that it's, well, whatever year it is in this game. And it's only going to get worse from here. Sucky. Okay, so we need to reduce our farmer percentage, and we also need to be paying very close attention to the food prices, which are listed. Where are they? Food price. Okay, Expect this to skyrocket. If you do nothing about the water shortage, over time, the price of food will continue going up, 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 and up. And what will happen is the poor will make no money, the middle class will make no money, and then you'll have a general strike. The entire economy will shut down until you solve the problem, and you'll lose all your money, and you'll lose. Pretty much straight up. So we have to try and nip this in the bud. The most successful way to deal with it is probably the Climate Change Adaptation Fund. However, this is phenomenally expensive. I'd like to try doing something different and see how well it works. I'm thinking maybe we try the Farmland Acquisition Program. Basically what we're going to do here is we're going to make some international agreements with developing nations and say, hey, be our breadbasket, you have fertile lands, you have water, be our breadbasket and sell us food for a cheap price, and we'll help develop your nation. Also, typo, liberals. It's just whatever, but they liken it to a new colonialism. Well, Russia would love to be a colonial empire. Shut up, what do you know? Alright, so this really upsets environmentalists, and farmers don't like the foreign competition. But their membership does go down by about 14%, which is pretty good for us, and perhaps just as importantly, the food prices go lower by about 12%. This can help reduce the likelihood of a food price crisis if we can. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. We probably will have no choice but to do the Climate Change Adaptation Fund at some point, just to hold it off. But that could help, and it kind of makes sense a little bit for the playthrough. Who knows? Maybe we contract out Ukraine or something. I mean, I don't really think of them as a developing country, but okay, sure. We contract out Ukraine and stuff, and then eventually we'll take them over and create them as a satellite state of the USSR. I don't know. We'll try things. It might even work. What else do we want to do? Actually, hang on. Ooh. You know something I never get to do? I never get to do the foreign investor tax breaks. What if this is the influx of capital that our country needs? Because right now, I mean, we have a bit of a surplus, but what we really need is a huge influx of money with the capital in order to start building up our economy. And then we'll close it down and we'll take everything. But in the meantime, the only downside of this is it really upsets patriots, like really upsets them, but they love me right now. We can afford to try this. I think it also directly impacts the GDP. No. Productivity! Oh, I never ever get to use this. This makes me so happy. Okay, we could do this, and what it does is it really upsets the patriots. Like maybe more than we can actually handle. But if we just did something like this, like 6.5 billion, this would upset them by about 17%. Okay, that sucks. Capitalists don't care. This actually solidifies our financial sector as stronger, which is great, and our productivity would go up by 13%. We need this. We're doing it. I never get to use that. I wonder if that's been rebalanced or if I'm just not remembering correctly. Usually there's some really bad downsides to having that foreign investor tax break. The patriots absolutely despise you. But hey, if it works... Actually, you know what else we could do? We could do the fuel efficiency standards and try to improve the environment. Oh, no, wait a minute, not the environment. Oh, this is actually good for us, though. This is actually really good for us. Okay, hang on. So let's do... Interesting, this actually greatly reduces international trade, but barely impacts the automotive industry at all. The automakers are like, sure, we can make more efficient cars. We've been able to do that for a long time. What are you worried about? Oil demand going down, though. Oh, but car usage goes up. Maybe we can't go do quite that much. What if we did it something kind of like this? Let's just say 44 million. Oil demand going down. This is actually a good move for our economy. Let me explain why real quick before I end this video. So part of the problem is right now we have 3 different factors involved in our oil. A lot of it has to do with the oil pricing. And as our oil becomes cheaper, well, it becomes cheaper to produce gasoline, so people start driving more. But as it becomes expensive, people start driving less. And if we are a net exporter of oil, we can start making some pretty good money in our economy. But that is highly driven by the oil demand, which is going down. We can actually reduce it a lot further, and our oil supply. If we can get to a point where our oil supply is greater than our demand, that could be pretty good for us. It does mean that gas will be very cheap and people will start driving more cars, which increases our car usage, which is a bit of a problem. Okay, but I do believe that it's tied directly into our GDP somewhere. Yeah, oil prices right now are kind of middle of the road, so it's not giving us a lot of money. But maybe, by creating a nation where we greatly increase the amount of oil we are producing and reduce the amount we are consuming, maybe we can become a net exporter of energy, which is actually one of the main ways that the Russian Federation has been able to stay afloat financially for as long as it has, even though they are having some economic woes right now. Actually, while the oil prices were quite high, Russia was feeling was feeling pretty good about themselves for a while there. But as it's been going down, economically, they have been hurting. But if we can try to improve this, that could be pretty good for us economically, and also historically accurate. I like that. We have to end this video here, though, because we are 30 minutes in, so thank you all very much for watching. I do hope that you enjoyed this year in Russia. Be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I, as always, will see you guys next time.